Hey, everybody, welcome back to The Preacher and the Prodigy. We are doing this show, obviously, by way of Zoom, as I'm away on business here in Orange City, Iowa. The Prodigy remains. By the way, breaking news on this. I just talked to someone about a corporate sponsorship, and you are sitting in what may come to be known as the Diamond Vogel Studios. So this comes right from the man at the top of the Diamond Vogel.
Might have to find our trucks and put some of those in there for money making. Give them some credit for this, but we got a sponsor. So
yeah, so we have not negotiated yet the actual remuneration for being named the Diamond Vogel Studios, but I think this is a really positive development in the Preacher and the Prodigy's long arc in history. So good to have everybody back with us. We are in week 6. Jericho, any takeaways from week 5? Notre Dame fans continue to live life at the very edge of their seats.
Yeah.
Georgia survives a scare. My Kansas Jayhawks did not show up because Jalen Daniels was out with an injury. Michigan might be the best team in the country, and Cade McNamara is no more.
It's done.
Dunzo.
It seemed another chalky Saturday, but definitely more excitement than 2 weeks ago. I don't know. It was really fun. It was fun to watch. We had a packed set of games, a lot of fun rivalries to watch. The Georgia one especially kept people on the edge of their seats. So definitely an interesting week last week. Exciting. But we're back to pick games for week number 6.
And we're nearing the halfway point of the season. We're coming around to the turn in the bend. Any just big first half takeaways? Like you said, it's been a pretty chalky season. I think definitely Texas, which is one of your preseason picks to click here, has done well. LSU, and I was very skeptical of LSU, has proven to be not particularly good. A couple of losses, both of them away from Death Valley, admittedly. Injuries to big time players haven't been a huge factor this year. There's no single coach you would say, wow, they have moved themselves quickly onto the hot seat.
And I think this year we were seeing this at the beginning, looking at this at the beginning of the year. There's so many good teams, first time in a while, where you could not have grouped 4 teams together and say these are the 4 that's going to make the playoff. Almost certainly there are about 7, 8, maybe even 9 teams, because just how the Pac-12 is balanced, and Georgia now seems mortal. Michigan, Texas, Ohio State starting to prove themselves, and it's just really even races throughout. The playoff, Heisman, position battles. It's everybody goes. It's battle royale of college football. There's no really dominant force that we have seen clearly this year. That's been far and away.
It would be, if the season
champion.
If the season ended today, you'd have a really fun kind of like 8-team tournament, because you mentioned some schools. You throw Florida State in there, scraped by Boston College, but otherwise has looked good. Potentially in Oklahoma, they've got a big game we'll end with this week. Penn State has, after a kind of a sleepy first half last week in Evanston, they have taken care of business as well. So it seems like 8 to 10 teams right now would have an awfully fun single elimination playoff.
Yeah, we are like a year too late for the 12-team playoff. That's coming next year. We have to wait for that. I think that'd be great to see, putting some great teams together this year.
But most of these things will get sorted out as the year wears on. Rather, there's some important games certainly left to be played in the Big Ten East in particular. There'll be an SEC championship game in there, and so you wouldn't really want to bet your life on any Final Four right now, because there's about 8 to 10 teams that all could rise up. We haven't mentioned Oregon and Washington either. By the way, did you see Michigan's schedule, Jericho, for 2024?
I did. That's brutal. People saying, oh, 2022, 2023, Michigan schedule is cake. Watch out next year because it is not going to be fun.
They play Texas,
Not
they
going to be
play
fun.
Washington, USC, Ohio State,
They,
and
they play
the
they play
Buffalo Bills. I
they
mean,
play they play 5 out of the 10 AP ranked teams right now.
yeah.
So what
And I
people
think there's
can't
a
be
good
talking
case to be
next
made that
year.
many of those teams might not be as good. You're going to see quarterback departures at
No,
USC.
no.
You're going to see Washington, Oregon, USC all lose their quarterbacks. In particular, Texas may not have Ewers back, but
Yeah,
those are going to be huge. Michigan's going to lose their quarterback. Right now,
that's true.
one mock draft has him going number 5 overall to the Vikes, believe it or not. So, I've never thought of JJ as a prototypical NFL quarterback. He isn't as big as you would want, like a Riley Leonard, get well soon Riley. But yeah, the new kind of quarterback they're looking for, mobile, that Patrick Mahomes mold, where you can make plays off platform. JJ McCarthy certainly fits that, and just the leadership and charisma. He's going to be a high draft pick too. So.
Mm-hmm. I think we also play Fresno State too, who's another AP top 25 team. So
And hey, we can't
batting it
overlook the
on.
Red Wolves of Arkansas State. Is that what are they, the Red Wolves, or is that Central Arkansas?
I think might be the Wolf Pack. I'm not sure, but
Someone will tell us in the comment section. All right, we got to
yeah.
get moving here. We're on the free version of Zoom right now, 40 minutes. So let's get into it. Game number 1. Where do you want to go first?
Game number 1, night game in Louisville. The Fighting Jeff Brahms, first year, still undefeated, 5-0, hosting Notre Dame. This is probably the second week, maybe third week in a row we've been picking Notre Dame games. Irish are favored by 6.5. Again, this is road night game, ACC. Notre Dame has done fairly well against ACC opponents.
So Notre Dame ironically covered last week because they went for 2.
Backdoor cover. Yeah.
Going for 2 at the end of the game, but they were, obviously a yard away from losing the game. Sam Hartman scrambles on 4th and 16. Duke plays some whack job defense, in which they don't even cover the quarterback. They were 1 play away against Ohio State, pretty much 1 play away against Duke. I'm going to go first. I don't know anything about Louisville, but what I know about Notre Dame is they're going to be in a tight game. So I'm going to take the points, and I'm going to take Louisville at home here. I've seen teams go into, is it still called Papa John Stadium? I don't know. Maybe they got a different corporate sponsorship, but down there at night games, I don't know, the black jerseys might be out for Louisville. It's a jump in place. And so I'm going to take Louisville and the 6.5, but this is just a complete guess. I really don't have any idea what's going on in Jeff Brom's first year.
Yeah, I think I'm going to take the Irish here. I know way more about Notre Dame and what they've done over the year, and who they've got at quarterback, running back, really who they have at head coach. I mean, when have we seen Jeff Brom go 5-0 heading into a primetime matchup? I just think that Notre Dame is, they're the better team, and the better team is going to come out and win the game. Like you said, they're 1 play away from beating Ohio State, but also 1 play away from losing to Duke. I think that they definitely could have beat Ohio State. This seems like a pretty easy pick for me. I'm going to take Notre Dame to cover this one.
Yeah, you could be right. I have no conviction at all about my pick. This thing could be 38-16 Notre Dame. It could be 27-23 Notre Dame. I don't think Notre Dame will lose, but just sort of variety's sake, I'm taking Louisville.
All right, moving on. Game number 2, Texas A&M, the 12th man. Jimbo Fisher against Nick Saban. They are hosting the Alabama Crimson Tide. This is an afternoon game on CBS. Brad Nessler, Gary Danielson, the whole crew. The Tide, this is basically a pick'em game. Tide are favored by 1. Obviously, the Jimbo Fisher Nick Saban rivalry will be renewed. A&M still really have not gotten off the mat in terms of expectations with how much they've been paying Jimbo Fisher, and the team that they have brought together. And Alabama has been really disappointing. This kind of almost a sad game. Both teams looking to get something going after not really fulfilling expectations.
Well, both teams got waxed once.
Yeah, both teams. Yeah, both teams got.
Miami jumped up on the eggs,
and Texas beat Bama at home. I'm going to take Bama in this one. I think that they've gotten much better since they lost to Texas. I think that Jalen Milroe is starting to become a way better quarterback than what he was, say, at the USF game, where they scored 17 points or whatever it was. And even though it's going to be a ruckus environment, I still think that Nick Saban's got something left in him to be like, okay, guys, if there was ever a game that we could not ever possibly lose, it would be this game. So give me the Tide to win this one, something along the lines of 34-26. Bama comes out ahead.
I don't think 60 points are going to be scored. I would disagree on that, but I will take Bama as well. I think generally confidence in the Bama brand in a game like this. And we've seen both teams, just not at their best, but I'm going to take Bama with you and lay the point.
Game three, the shoe, the snake pit. Ohio State Buckeyes hosting the upstart Maryland Terps. They also are 5-0. They are certainly a September team versus a November team. Buckeyes are still favored by 20. A lot of people see this game as high-flying, back and forth kind of a game. Maryland basically replicates what Ohio State does. It's
they're junior varsity Ohio State. We said that last year.
Yeah, it's same system, same players they recruit. But Ohio State is just a way bigger brand than Maryland is. This is big Fox Big Noon, I think. So this is going to be a noon kickoff game. Buckeyes favored by 20. I'm getting a little bit of USC versus Colorado vibes, where we know that Ohio State has the better players, and they, without a doubt, are the better team. But for some reason, Maryland has fight in them. They keep it close, start scoring some points late in the second half. When Ohio State's up, 24 at halftime, and Maryland starts keep taking shots. I'm going to take the Terps to cover this one. I don't ever think it's going to be close, but just the fact that Ohio State's going to start to realize, it's not worth it putting first string players out there when you're already up by 21 points. Give me the Terps to cover this one. Buckeyes to win fairly comfortably.
So the difference between this and Colorado USC is that the underdog here is on the road, as opposed to at home, as Neon Dion's Buffaloes were. I'm still going to agree with you, though. I see this as a 37-20 type game. I think it's a big number for the Buckeyes to cover. Just history being what it is, this is the kind of game you look up and it's 49-10. Ohio State wins. How long can September Maryland continue? We'll find out a lot this weekend. 20 is just too expensive for me. I'm going to go with you. I'm going to go with Maryland as well and take the Terps.
It's a lot of points, as we've seen with shorter games. Game number 4.
The problem with Maryland, of course, is that Talia will get hurt at some point. If Talia gets hurt in this game, in the second quarter, sure, it could be 42 to.
If Talia gets hurt, Maryland's done
17.
for.
Yeah,
Maryland's done for. Their whole team is wrecked. He's really the difference between being a bowl eligible team and not being a bowl eligible team.
We agree. We're both taking Maryland to cover.
Moving on, Kentucky at Georgia. Georgia favored by 14.5. Kentucky really had a kind of dominant game last week, beating ranked Florida at home. running back Ray Davis dropped something like 280 rushing yards, just popped off in that game. But Florida is a whole different plan than Georgia. Georgia is stout up front always. They have been in recent years. Dogs favored by, said, 14.5.
I think I got to go first on this one.
Yeah, I think this is a night game too. So
I'm going dogs. I'm tempted to take Kentucky because it seemed like maybe Brock Bowers last week defeated Auburn and not Georgia. And obviously Kentucky can do more things offensively than the Tigers did. But I think this is going to be one of those games where Georgia reminds everyone that its roster is littered with just top 10 talent at every position. I don't know. I don't think I'd take Georgia minus 20, but I'll take Georgia minus 14 and a half and take Georgia to win this game 34-17, something like that. Give me the dogs. Give me the champs.
Yeah, I'm going to agree. I think this is a wake-up call for Georgia. They're finally playing a top 25 team. A lot of doubt circling through Athens right now are they still the team that we saw the last 2 years that went back-to-back chips? How are they going to do with a new OC and without Stetson Bennett? I think all those questions will get answered. If not answered, they will be closer to finding one out. I think that the dogs take care of this one at night at home. I really don't see the Kentucky offense getting going because again, it's that Georgia defensive front. I think that
let me ask you this question. If Kentucky wins the football game, neither of us are picking them. If they do, are they playing in the SEC championship?
I'm not sure. I think that they would end up the year at best tied with Georgia because I think Kentucky would drop them later.
But if they're tied, then they're in the
SEC. And it's still Kentucky, but
right.
Yeah, I don't see Kentucky winning this game though. I don't see any way that Kentucky can get the ball moving in that kind of scene with that kind of defense. I just don't see it. Give me the dogs 27-9.
What a boring friggin' podcast. We're doing the same picks every time.
Should we light it up like a Red River Rivalry? Finish that off.
Yep, here we go. So we have again at the Texas State Fair in Dallas, Texas, half the stadium in burnt orange, half in crimson and cream. We have the number 3 Texas Longhorns against what are they ranked? Number 8? Where's Oklahoma now?
12 still.
12.
I think they're 12.
We're knocking on the door of the top 10. The Oklahoma Sooners. This is always a fun game. You should always bet the over. It's a shootout. It's a blast. It goes, the game always goes like 4 hours and 22 minutes, something like that.
Mm-hmm.
You're like, it's like halftime of the 2:30 game and the Red River rivalry is still going on. Mm-hmm. Texas could be legit here. But Oklahoma could be legit too. Both teams this is just a great proving ground game. What do we have? Texas minus 6.5. Is that the line?
I think that's what it is. Texas minus 6.5. Yeah.
You go first or do I?
My turn. I think it's my turn.
You gotta go Texas.
Year. Yeah, this year, I think you said always bet the over. I wouldn't say that this year. Both teams have been stout defensively. Even though, competition they played isn't always great, but Brett Venables is a defensive guy. Texas has been holding teams to less than 24 points all year long. This is not what we usually say about these two teams. But I think this is the case where it's a final score of like 34 to 27 or something like that. Not quite 700, 800 yards of offense like we normally see. But I still think Texas X factor for me here is Texas has a running back, and we saw that last week. Texas has a running back, Oklahoma doesn't. I think that's going to be key down the stretch when they're trying to burn clock. Texas gets the lead third quarter, and they suffocate them in the end. Give me the Horns win this game. Keep it rolling.
By the way, I just like the over under six.
Horns
Over
to
and under
cover.
is 6. Over and under is 60.5. So
I
Vegas
understand
has this. Vegas has this at 33.5 to 27.
Yeah.
So 34 to 27, something like that. Yeah. Two really, yeah, you mentioned Venables, but great offensive coordinator. I think Jeff Levy is at Oklahoma. Steve Sarkisian knows how to coach offense as well. I have a lot of respect. You're going with Texas. You're riding with Texas. As the clock strikes 8 here in Orange City, Iowa in the background, I'm going to go Oklahoma. I have Texas winning this game and a walk-off field goal, 41 to 40 or something like that.
Wow.
A big golden hat being worn by Steve Sarkisian as he's carried off the field. So Texas wins, but Oklahoma stays within that touchdown of margin. I'll take the points in a rivalry game like this. So give me OU. I don't know. I'll tell you what, Prodigy, this is a week I don't have a lot of strong opinions on these games. None of these seem to me like free money. So I'm going to disagree with you on this one, and I'm going to go Boomer Sooner.
We will see.
Dylan Gabriel throwing the ball all over the field. It's always a fun game to watch.
Yeah. Any other thoughts? Northwestern homecoming game?
Northwestern homecoming game. The season really starts in a couple of weeks with the Dort and Morningside games back to back. Looking forward to seeing the boys out there. I just met new athletic director Tony Hoops at Northwestern. Great name for an athletic director. We're going to have a good weekend. Michigan up at Minnesota. The temperature is going to be like 70 degrees colder than kickoff last week for Michigan. Michigan looks good. Every game's a test. So Minnesota could put up a fight. Who knows? Just because of the environment, but I expect Michigan to continue to march on.
Yeah.
That's all I got. From Iowa, I'm the preacher.
From the Diamond Vogel Studios in Wisconsin, I'm the Prodigy. Peace.
Peace.